You know that feeling, right? You're a project manager and you're just drowning. There's a sea of tasks, a storm of deadlines, and the whole thing feels like it's about to go under. Well, what if I told you there's a life raft, a tool designed specifically to pull you out of that chaos?
Does this scene look a little too familiar? You're trying to juggle everything: deadlines, tasks, people. And your project plan? It's not a roadmap. It's more like a tangled ball of yarn. And that is the perfect recipe for missed deadlines and complete and utter confusion.
But imagine if you could just untangle all of that. Turn the chaos into a clear, simple story that everyone can understand. One single picture that tells you everything you need to know from start to finish. That's exactly what we're going to dive into.
So here's the plan. First, we'll cover what a Gantt chart actually is. Then, we'll look at how it tells your project's story, and we'll pinpoint the signs that you absolutely need one. After that, I'm going to walk you through building one in just 4 steps, showing you exactly how to go from a simple list of data to a crystal clear deadline.
All right, so what is this amazing tool that promises to bring order to the chaos? Well, it happens to be one of the most classic, most trusted project planning tools in the entire world, and for a very, very good reason.
At its heart, a Gantt chart is really just a horizontal bar chart. Super simple. Time moves from left to right across the bottom, and all your project tasks are listed down the side. Fun fact, it was popularized way back over a century ago by an engineer named Henry Gantt, and it's still the gold standard for a reason.
And this is my favorite way to think about it. A Gantt chart is like the graphic novel of your project. Seriously, it's not some boring list of dates and names. It's a visual story. You can see all the characters, all the plot points, and exactly how they all connect over time. And this is where the real magic is. In just one glance, you see the whole picture. Not just what needs to be done, but how long it'll take, who's doing it, and, this is the big one, how tasks depend on each other. You can instantly see, oh, wait a minute, task B can't even start until task A is finished. That's how you spot roadblocks before they become disasters.
So how do you know when you really need one? Honestly, my answer is pretty much always. But let's look at a few specific red flags. These are the signs that tell you a Gantt chart isn't just a nice to have, it's an absolute must.
I mean, the difference is just night and day. Without one, you've got chaos, people are confused, wires get crossed, deadlines get missed. But with a Gantt chart, everybody is on the same page. It creates instant clarity, it gets the whole team aligned, and it makes it perfectly clear who is accountable for what. So if any of this sounds familiar, listen up. Got a project with a non-negotiable deadline? You need one. Trying to coordinate more than one team? This is your single source of truth. Your boss keeps asking for a visual timeline? Here you go. And most importantly, if some tasks have to be done before others, a Gantt chart isn't just helpful, it's absolutely essential.
Okay, I know this might look a little intimidating, but you don't need some fancy, expensive software to make it happen. You can build a really powerful Gantt chart using a tool you probably already have open on your computer right now, good old Excel. Let's break down how to do it.
It really just comes down to 4 basic steps. First, we'll set up the data. Then, we'll insert a very specific kind of chart. We'll plug in our task durations, and finally, we'll use a little bit of formatting magic to make it all look perfect. Trust me, it's easier than it looks.
All right, step 1. First things first, your data table. You have to think of this as the foundation for your entire house. If you get this part right, everything else is going to be a breeze. It's the most important step.
You just need 4 key pieces of info here. The name of the task, when it starts, when it ends, and how long it takes. And that duration part, super easy. It's just a simple formula. The end date minus the start date. That's it.
Okay, now for the fun part. We're going to take that boring table and start turning it into the skeleton of our Gantt chart. And the secret ingredient here is something called a stacked bar chart.
So here's the little trick, the technique behind it all. We're actually creating a bar chart with 2 pieces. The first piece is just a blank space, an invisible block that represents the start date. That invisible block pushes our real taskbar over to the correct starting point on the timeline. That's the whole hack right there.
So at this point, your chart is going to look, well, a little weird. It's not our final beautiful Gantt chart yet. This last step is where we apply that formatting magic to clean everything up and make it look professional.
Okay, here's the magic. First, you take those start date bars and poof, you make them invisible by setting them to no fill. Now your tasks are just floating in the right spots. Next, you flip the task list so it reads from top to bottom the way it should.
A final little tweak to the date axis at the bottom, and voila! You've got a clean, perfect Gantt chart.
And just like that, with those 4 simple steps, you've turned a basic data table into a really powerful communication tool. You've literally written the story of your project, and now it's ready to be shared, tracked, and actually brought to life.
And that is the real power here. It's just one tool, one single chart that gives you and your entire team complete clarity on every task, every dependency, and every single deadline. It's how you get everyone marching in the same direction.
This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? The whole point of a Gantt chart is to take something that feels huge and complex, maybe even like a monster of a project, and just simplify it. Break it down into an easy-to-follow plan that lets you see problems coming a mile away.
Look, every single project, whether it's big or small, has a story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The Gantt chart is just the tool you use to tell that story clearly. So the only question left is, are you ready to tell yours?